everyone, and welcome to Coach's Corner here on WCHC TV. Do not adjust your sets. I am not Randy Young. I am Harry Wright, filling in for Randy Young today. Today our show includes the wrestling coach from Washington Courthouse, Lewis Reed, and the boys basketball coach from Miami Trace, Rob Pitzer. And we'll get to that interview right after this.
High school students and adults do have a choice in continuing their education. Great Oaks Career Campuses offer youth over 30 career programs that students from 36 different school districts take advantage of. Plus, Great Oaks offers a dozen full-time programs as well as part-time certification program and short-term classes for enjoyment and lifelong learning. For details on locations or to make an appointment to talk with representatives, contact Laurel Oaks location in Wilmington at 800-752-5480 or visit their website at greatoaks.com.
Coach's Corner is brought to you in part by Courthouse Manor and St. Catharines Manor. Courthouse Manor is honored to now offer assisted living to our community. Their brand new facility offers one-bedroom apartments for individuals who value independence, yet recognize the need for daily assistance. Services include daily meals, laundry service, housekeeping, opportunities for lifestyle enrichment activities, and more, all at a flat rate. Stop by Courthouse Manor Assisted Living today for a tour at 555 North Glen Avenue in Washington Courthouse. Courthouse Manor and St. Catharines Manor of Washington Courthouse, a tradition of caring.
Talking now with the Miami Trace High School boys basketball coach, Coach Rob Pitzer. How are you today?
Doing just fine, thanks.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about how far the season so far has progressed.
Well, we're just about to the conclusion of our scrimmage season. The state allows us to have 5, so we've had 4 up to this point, and we have our last one at Adena tonight, and I think they got a good group coming back, and they're coming off a really good football season, so we feel like we'll be challenged tonight. We've had a good scrimmage season up to this point. Everybody's healthy and trying to get involved with our new system, so all systems are go right now for Friday night.
What's the team makeup like? How many seniors do you have returning?
Well, 2 years ago we graduated 9. Last year we graduated 8. So now we're kind of starting back from scratch a little bit. We've only got 2 seniors in our senior class and really only 4 kids in our junior class. So we go from classes of 9 and 8 seniors to 6 total in our top 2 classes. But both of our senior players, Austin Brown and Austin Matthews, both played varsity minutes last year. So at least there's some familiarity there, and we got a couple kids back with experience.
Now, you've had some scrimmages, you've had some practice. Tell us about a couple of kids maybe that are standing out for you.
Well, Austin Brown started virtually every game for us last year and was kind of our glue kid. He was the kid that kind of kept the pieces together in our front court. And though he didn't score a bunch, we really didn't need him to. But other than foul trouble, we literally never took him out of the ball game hardly last year. He would play almost every minute of every game. So having that kind of stability back should be a good thing. Austin Matthews, our other senior player, came off the bench for us last year and made a few starts as well. And he'll play like a combo guard. He's a really aggressive kid. Both of those kids we're counting on for some big-time leadership and some things on the scoreboard. We got to find a way to score points this year, and they're both kind of in new roles. So those 2 seniors have probably done the best job of leading the way up to this point, and we hope that'll continue.
Now, of course, with the underclassmen that you have, there has to be 1 or 2 of them that's ready to step into that leadership role.
I would agree. We have a young man named Kyler Kahn who will be our point guard. And those of you that know a lot about the game know the point guard's pretty essential. If you don't have a steady ball handler to work the ball up the floor and to be able to handle full court pressure, it can really cause problems for you. So we're fortunate to have Kyler, and he played the point exclusively for our JV team last year, so we feel like he can step right into that role and be just fine. We have a couple of other juniors, Trevor Barker will be probably our starting 2 guard most nights, and he can really shoot the 3 pretty well. So we're looking for double-figure scoring out of him if we can get it. And he did that at times for our JV team last year. So that's a couple of juniors that will need to step up in addition to a couple others, Cody Brightman and Gabe Razzo, who's a transfer from Washington Courthouse, who we hope to be able to use in some ways too. And then we're going to have to play some sophomores. There's going to be 3 or 4 sophomores that are going to get some varsity minutes, and they're ready in some ways and still green in others. So there'll be a learning curve there for them. But we're in a position where there's some kids with some talent, and we're hurting for depth a little bit. So there's 3 or 4 kids in that class that are going to have to help us.
How do you see the Frontier Athletic Conference shaping up this year?
Chillicothe is going to be awful strong again. They'll have the best individual player in our league, in Javen Moffmer. His brother last year graduated as a senior, and he's doing really good things as a freshman playing for Cedarville. And I think his brother that's still there is a better player. He's actually gotten a couple offers, I think, Division I mid-major offers already, and that'll probably continue. He's about 6'5" player. Shoots a 3 really well, so they're going to be really, really strong. And from what I can tell, Jackson's got a couple of kids that transferred in that scored the ball really, really well for their respective teams last year. And they play a real physical brand of defense, and it can be something really tough to deal with. So I would think those 2 teams would probably be somewhere near the top, with the rest of us trying to compete somewhere in the middle and let things shake out how they may be.
You know, when we were talking off the air on the way into the studio, and you mentioned a word that I want to use right now, coachable. How important is that to have kids that are coachable?
Oh, coachability is essential. As you go into coaching as an industry, you know right away you're not going to get rich doing it. So you'd like to think that you're helping kids that want to learn, that want to commit to a system, that want to be part of a program, and that can be coachable so that you can progress no matter what skill level that they have. And this group is that. They've been real attentive up to this point. They're doing everything that we've asked them to do, and we're probably overloading them. But, it's as a first-year varsity player, and we got a ton of them, there's a lot to learn, and it can be a pretty steep curve. So we're real pleased with the boys up to this point and what they've brought in terms of attention and focus to practice. And for a coach, that makes it a lot easier to go in, day out, when you got to spend 2 hours with a group, when you feel like they're putting into it the same that you are. Then you can kind of meet in the middle and let the chips fall where they may.
Now, I know you're still playing some games in the Panther Pit, but how excited are you to be in the new gym?
We are. I tell you what, as a coach, though, you look for every advantage you can get. So there's some home court advantage to be lost.
Yes, there is.
Moving over there. So you hate to give up any advantage that you can have, but certainly our kids and our community are excited about the new facility. We've had a chance to get in there and kind of snoop around a little bit, and while it'll be sad to lose a lot of the uniqueness we have now, because the gym we have now there's not another one like it in our area. And so while we're kind of sad to see that go and turn the page, certainly we're excited about the possibilities of a new gymnasium. There'll be seats behind one of the buckets where we can have a legitimate student section and do some new things. So it should be exciting for our kids.
That's going to be a nice 6th man for you right there, having that whole group of kids right there underneath that. I'm excited for you. We wish you nothing, of course, but the best of luck. We hope that you have a completely injury-free season, because I know that's a key thing. When you only got a couple of seniors that are starting, you can't afford anybody to get hurt, and we want you to have a nice injury-free season. We wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you having us today.
Oh, appreciate you coming in. Coach Rob Pitzer of the Miami Trace Panthers.
Great Oaks Career Campuses is the first choice in providing innovative career training to empower individuals and communities. With 4 campuses, Great Oaks offers high school students and adults specialized career and technical education. Check out their webpage at greatoaks.com for details and information. And in this area, don't forget to stop by their Wilmington Laurel Oaks campus or call 800-752-5480. When Summers Funeral Home opened to serve this area in 1991, one of their top promises was to each family that they served to provide thoughtful, caring, and respectful service to those in pain from the loss of a loved one. Terry Summers and his family and staff continue to promise to continue to put your family needs first, with the utmost professional care that they can provide. In your time of need, remember the Summers Funeral Home, 223 West Market Street in Washington Courthouse, or call 740-335-6078.
Talking now with the wrestling coach from Washington Courthouse, Lewis Reed. How we doing, Coach?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about your season coming up.
Starting my 17th season here at Washington Courthouse High School. We have one of our largest groups in the past 5 years. We're right around 30 wrestlers right now. We return 9 starters, and we have some promising underclassmen and new wrestlers that have come out for the team. We've got a full lineup, and we've got some big goals for our team.
You know, that's something when you can fill the whole lineup, because you got 14 weight classes, which means you got to have wrestlers that are 14 different sizes.
Yeah. It's in this day and age, it's becoming ever more difficult to fill all 14 weight classes, especially the lowest weight class, 106 pounds. It's difficult to find a high school kid walking around that's 106 pounds or less.
That's usually a freshman.
That's usually a freshman.
Yeah.
And now this year we've been fortunate. We have two freshmen that are in that weight class, and actually the next weight class up, 113, another weight class that's hard to find. We actually have 5 wrestlers. So and we're real good down at the lower end, and then at the top end at heavyweight and 220 pounds, we have a combined about 8 wrestlers up there. In the middle is where we're a little thin.
In other sports, we talk about the numbers game. You know, the numbers of the players that you have is important. It is so much important in wrestling, because then you have that competition between the kids to see who gets to wrestle each week.
Yes, and so what we have are things called wrestle-offs, and it determines our lineup. The coaches can step in, you know, if we need to step in and say, well, we don't think this kid's ready, we can do that. But ultimately, 99% of the time, a wrestle-off is going to determine who the varsity wrestler is. In this case, we'll have our wrestle-offs Tuesday and Wednesday. Whatever wrestler wants to be the varsity wrestler at the one of the 14 weight classes, they can challenge for whatever weight class they like, long as it's within their OHSA recommended weight loss plan, because there's a specific weight. They can't wrestle too low, and they can't go up too high.
Right.
The OHSA gives them a weight that they have to wrestle at on any given date. They can challenge, and if the wrestler wins, he's varsity for this week. And once a wrestler has been established as a varsity wrestler, he has to be beaten twice by anyone else to lose his spot. And he only has to win one time at that spot.
So that's it kind of keeps that fresh, good wrestler right there in that weight spot, weight class. And then, you know, somebody else has a better week, you know, they're on a roll, they can step right on up and take that away.
Right. It keeps everyone hungry. It keeps them pushing each other. It keeps the varsity guy needing to know that, hey, I need to work hard because I've got a guy right behind me that may challenge me for my spot, and if I'm not ready, he could take it away.
We hear that term next man up a lot, but this is really truly the sport where that next man up means so much.
It means a lot. Last year, unfortunately, we started off the season, had a great first half, and then we got hit with the injury bug, and we had to put a lot of our reserve wrestlers in. We ended up canceling our reserve half of the season, and most of those wrestlers became varsity, and we had a rough patch, but by the end of the year, those guys that were the next man up ended up helping us out, and we had a pretty successful year, sending 5 kids on to the district tournament, and 1 wrestler on to the state, and along with 1 state alternate.
When you talk about contact sports, you know, like football, if you're a linebacker, you hit a guy, you're off the guy, you're only making contact for a few seconds. In wrestling, there's physical contact the whole time.
It's 2 minutes. The match is a total of 6 minutes long. Each period's 2 minutes, and yes, you're making contact. The object, you want to make contact. The object is to pin your opponent or beat them by points, but the ultimate goal is to pin them.
That's right, because you get more points if you pin than if you win by decision.
Yeah, that's correct.
And of course, there's a major decision too if you win by so many points.
Yep, it goes pin is worth, and it depends on the setting, whether it's a tournament or dual meet, but it goes pin, technical fall, major decision, then regular decision. And of course, you could have someone that forfeits to you. That means they have a wrestler there, but they can't continue. They forfeit the match to you, and that's the same as a pin.
That's the same as a pin. Now, do me a favor and talk a little bit about the Frontier Athletic Conference this year.
Frontier Athletic Conference is, once again, it's an extremely competitive conference for wrestling. You have the defending champs, conference champs in Miami Trace. They return a lot of their lineup. Greenfield McLean, Shane Paul has done a pretty good job there. He's moved their program up. They were second last year. Then Hillsborough improved. They were third, and we were fourth. Then you also have Chillicothe and Jackson. All the programs have made huge strides. This year, I know going in already, on average, ourselves, McLean, Trace, Jackson, everyone's right around, and Hillsborough, everyone's on average from 20 to 30 wrestlers. I know Chillicothe, their numbers are a little bit down there, right around 10 to 16. So the way the conference champions determined. We wrestle dual meets against every team, and for every team you beat, you get a point. And then you go to the conference tournament, and every team you finish ahead of, you get a point for that also. So it's a combination of dual and tournament setting, which sets it up so you're not being rewarded for just being a good, because some teams could have 5 kids and they're a really good tournament team, but if you go put them in a dual meet setting where you need those 14 weight classes, one of the other teams could beat them just because they're filling those weights. So you need to have a combination of both.
Now you get some of the wrestlers come from the football team. They play
Yes.
some football. How's the injury situation? You all right?
Injury-wise, we're pretty good right now. We've been blessed. Our kids are pretty healthy right now. We're getting ready to head into, this is opening weekend across the state of Ohio coming up. We're at the Franklin Wrestling Tournament. It's one of the toughest tournaments around the state. There's 16 teams there, including Cincinnati LaSalle. They'll be the heavy team favorite. They were Division I state runner-up last year. They're at this tournament every year. They place the top 6 at this tournament. A lot of our wrestlers that place at this tournament end up being district qualifiers or state qualifiers. It's a very difficult tournament. Teams from Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky all compete at this tournament.
You've had some workouts and everything and some practices. Give us the names of a couple of kids that are standing out for you.
Just some kids that stand out. I've got returning district qualifier Will Bond. He's a junior. He wrestled in the Southeast District All-Star match this past weekend. Did pretty good there. Collier Brown is a returning district qualifier. He's a junior also. Both Will and Collier, it was their first time at the district tournament last year. We're hoping they take that next step and go from not only qualifying to the district, but also step up and make it to state. Will Bond was also our first FAC champion last year. He won it at 138 pounds, and he'll be looking to repeat. And Collier's looking to move up from a third place finish this past year to a possible championship. We also have, let me go through here. I want to make sure I highlight our district qualifiers coming back from last year. I might have got them all. Those were, we had Will, we had Collier, and then we had senior Colin George. He didn't get to finish out the second half of the season, but he was having an outstanding season last year. Had 20 wins. He's been a district alternate. We're looking for big things from him. Then we return. We have upcoming freshman Branton Dawes. He's a freshman. He's ranked pretty high in the district. He actually wrestled in the Southeast District All-Star match this past weekend, and he beat an upperclassman from Sheridan, who was already a 2-time district qualifier. He beat him pretty handily. And then freshman Mason Mustaine. He's going to wrestle 220 pounds. Branton will wrestle 113. Collier's at 195, and Will's at probably 130, 145. Mason beat an upperclassman that was also a district qualifier. So both Mason and Branton were 2-time junior high state qualifiers. So they come in and they're looking to try and break into our lineup right away as freshmen, which is difficult. Ultimately, if it was up to a coach, you would have all upperclassmen. But there are some cases where you have wrestlers that are ready to step into your lineup as freshmen, or even sometimes, in some cases, we have some first-year wrestlers that are looking pretty promising.
That wrestling is one of those things where it doesn't matter how many years you've been on the team. If you get the job done, you get the job done.
It is. Some other kids I want to make sure I don't leave out. Junior Caleb Wilkerson, he was a district alternate as a freshman, had to sit out last year, and he's back this year for us. Senior Sam Willis, he won over 15 varsity matches last year. Senior Jay Fettig, he was a FAC place winner for us last year. Then we have another freshman, Austin Chamberlain, who I think can chip in the lighter weights for us. Sophomore Jared Kuhn, last year as a freshman, he won 12 matches, and he placed in 2 varsity tournaments for us as a JV wrestler, wrestling at a varsity tournament. He'll push for a spot. Sophomore Dylan Moore won double digits matches as a freshman last year. We've got a pretty solid lineup, pretty excited. And senior Wes Frazier, last year was a first-year wrestler. He won 17 matches and almost made it to the district tournament. So this will be his second year of wrestling. So we're looking for some big improvement from him.
As a high school wrestling coach, what are some of the challenges that you face?
Getting everyone on the same page. You got to find a way to balance everyone out. Not everyone's the same person, and wrestling can be looked at. A lot of people look at wrestling, well, it's an individual sport. What are you doing for me, or how can you make me better? It's individual and team. You got the dual meet aspect, which is the team, but when you go to a tournament, if you're doing well, then the team's doing well.
Right.
So it's tough sometimes getting all those personalities to mesh together and understand the team concept in wrestling.
You know, it's one of those sports where you can individually win a state championship
Yes.
without your team, going along with you. But you can win a state championship as an individual.
That's right. And now the one thing I do like that they've added the dual meet state championships. So not only can an individual win a state title, but your team can. So they have it's set up just like the football playoffs. There's regions,
Right.
and the teams are seeded based on their records, and then you move all the way through, and then finally, one team is crowned the champion or runner-up. Last year from the FAC, Miami Trace actually made it to the state final 8. Our conference, like I said, it's been traditionally strong. We've been a regional champion. We've won our region, and we're one match away from the state meet. So it's new and exciting thing that they've added to wrestling that emphasizes that team aspect.
I know that we're looking forward to this season, both for you and for Miami Trace. And here's channel WCAC TV. We are planning on broadcasting a couple of matches on our Facebook page live, so we can get a little bit of exposure to the sport to some of the people out there that might not know a whole lot about wrestling.
Yeah, this county is a great county for wrestling. Each year, ourselves and Miami Trace, we send a number of wrestlers to the state wrestling tournament. Not many counties do that.
Right.
To have the number of state placers, state qualifiers, league champions. If you go through and look at it, our county's doing extremely well.
And that's a testament to the coaching staff. I mean, in high school sports, you were at the mercy of the kids that you have. But it sounds like you got a good group of kids who are buying into the program and getting the work done. And we're looking for a great season from you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too, and looking forward to the exposure. I think it's just great for the sport of wrestling when kids, when a sport like this, it's not as well known. It's been around and it's a tough sport, but getting that exposure, the kids they'll be excited about that.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time spending
thank
time
you.
on the program. Coach Lewis Reed of the Washington Courthouse Blue Line Wrestling.